we had Battlefield 2042. It got its gameplay trailer, and I think it looks good. Like it looks like a lot of fun. They also did an extended look in the they did like the showcase extended, and they showed off a bit more with some of the gameplay and game types they were doing. It looks solid. Like they had some like they had like their own what's with all those grappling hooks now? There's like grappling hooks everywhere.
Grapple hook.
I mean, it looks like it's just absolute mayhem with 128 people on a map. And I think it could be a lot of fun if you get some friends together for it.
Dude, those storms, that's the most interesting idea.
Cool.
Is like when they got on the elevator and went upstairs and there was the helicopter getting sucked up. That looked, because I feel like that's the thing that people have realized most with online shooters now is that it's about making the toolkit and then you make your story inside the toolkit. It looks so fun.
Yep. They had like the ice level, or kind of like where you're up in like the Arctic or whatever, and you're like kind of rolling around these boats, and it looked really cool. But I like the idea of the dynamic weather and the destruction, because they mentioned Evan that they were doing a lot of destruction elements that we liked even from Bad Company back in the day.
I was talking to my buddy about it because we are thinking of getting back into it, and the one thing I think we're worried about at this point is they did talk about operators being a thing that are going to over time they're going to add more and more to the game. So is that going to be like the microtransaction-y thing if they go that route? That you're going to have to buy an elite unit? Is it going to be played? Is it going to be played where you just get to play them, or is it going to go the Star Wars Battlefront route where you have to like do really good for a while and then you get to like build up an energy and select an elite unit and then play it for a bit? Like, it's going to be interesting. So we're waiting to hear stuff. Yeah,
I like the idea of 64 on 64, and like you have big tornadoes in the middle of the the level. It's pretty cool. I'm sure there'll be like sandstorms coming in. You got like helicopters and jets everywhere. It's should be fun.
I can't wait for the content that's going to come out of that.
I know, right?
From the interview, it sounds like the large map is going to be broken down into those smaller set pieces, and those set pieces are all going to be individually designed to be kind of like a multi-point capture thing. And so like most of the fights are going to kind of center around wanting to take a whole area over so you can get points, and then like you might have multiple wars going on all over. So that sounds really cool to me. I kind of looking forward to that.
Okay. Yeah, looking forward to that one. That's out at the end of October, so I think that'll be a lot of fun. 12 minutes described as Groundhog Day with murder.
That was shown years ago.
Yeah,
right? We've been seeing this for a while.
People seem really excited about this game.
It seems really cool.
Doesn't that description also work for Majora's Mask?
A little bit.
Yes. I mean, it's from what they've shown, I guess it looks interesting. I don't know. I'll see more, I guess, on reviews and stuff for it. Psychonauts 2.
Looks better than anticipated.
I'm excited for Psychonauts 2. I mean, it's been a while since we've had the original Psychonauts back in like the original Xbox PS2 days, and that's August 25th, right on the Game Pass. So I'll be checking that one out too. Always a fan to see more of that. And Diablo 2 Resurrected got shown with a release date of September 23rd. Slime Rancher 2.
Hell yeah.
I did not play Slime Rancher 1.
Come on, man. Everyone did.
It looks cutie, but I've never played
Sean,
it before.
tell me. What was Slime Rancher 1?
Well, there's like
Unlike
ranches and you go around and you slime them.
Like Splatoon?
Yeah, and like
No!
kind of like that game Pooplers on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh,
Did anyone see that game and know what I'm
I have
talking
no
about?
idea what you're talking about.
Okay, it's a local co-op game where there's 4 babies and they shit with different colors. So it's like Splatoon with babies shitting, and you have to get them all. Look out!
I remember seeing a trailer for that. I was like, I don't want a code.
I refuse to believe that exists.
Yo, that's video game birth control right there.
Terrible. Wow. Oh, we did have Shredders. That's coming to Game Pass, I believe, day 1 as well. That's coming out in December, but this is another snowboarding game.
Yeah.
We talked about Riders Republic and now Shredders. And okay, so Nate, you said you wanted Amped.
Yes.
Guess what game this is modeled after? Guess what game this is modeled after?
Probably 1080 Avalanche.
It's modeled after Amped.
Oh.
Well, I guess it's as close as I'm going to get to a new Amped game.
Yes, that's what the creators said. They were like, we're big fans of Amped, so we're going to make a snowboarding game, so we made Shredders. I think their logo is terrible, and they need to fix that. Otherwise, I think, you know what? They did more talk about this during that game showcase extended. Jordan, they're kind of using the skate setup where you have a stick for your feet, the board itself, and then you have the other stick for your rider. And from what they Yeah. So it has kind of that kind of control scheme, which is good. But from what they were showing, I mean, visually, it's pretty impressive with how the snow moves when you're actually like snowboarding. It has some arcadey kind of elements too when you're like going down the mountain and doing tricks. And I think I'll check this out. You know what? I think I'm ready for a new SSX game at this point. We've seen these snowboarding games. You know, I'm ready for like a company to come in and just throw some money behind it and actually do it. What was the last SSX game we had on the PS3?
Was there one?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, there was on the PS3.
Yeah.
I'm biased.
All right, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it was that great.
Yeah, it wasn't
Okay.
I'm biased. I want another 1080 Avalanche, man, because that to me was like the equivalent of Tony Hawk with the freaking soundtrack and everything.
Yes.
Yep. Person who made that VR game, click, get on it.
What VR game?
They made a snowboarding VR game. The person who made 1080.
No, they did not. What's the name of it?
It's out now.
360 Avalanche.
It's out now.
No, it's not called. No, it's not. You almost got me, Jordan.
the Avalanche. That'd be worse though, because it's 1080.
You can see all around
back
now.
step.
It's like Xbox One. You got to go down in numbers for the sequel.
Nah, dude.
Someone in chat can probably bring the title up, but I think it's even on the Oculus Quest.
What is it called?
I think John Riggs played it.
Do they have Cauterize on there, dude? Get me the soundtrack. I'll be going. I don't care if it's DMCA. Get me.
Carve snowboarding.
Carve snowboarding. There you go.
Carve snowboarding. Well, I need a reason to get a VR. So.
Yeah, I think it does work on the Quest. I believe is one of the things they were mentioning during their gameplay demo for it a week or two ago. So there you go. Check that out. Carve snowboarding. Hades coming to Game Pass. That's good for Hades. Good, more people to try it out.
And PS5, which I know is off top. I just bought it on PS5.
Nice, and that means they got the Game Pass check. So good for the studio there. That's August 13th. Atomic Heart. This is like an open world. It looks kind of like it has some BioShock.
I feel like we saw trailers or video for this like 6 years ago. Like I really do.
We saw something on it a while back, but
okay. Then we had Replace, which for a lot of people was like one of their favorite games from E3. One of their favorite.
Yeah,
reveals.
that looks fantastic.
What was the game?
Replaced.
It's
it does look dope.
the 2D.
Yeah, like the art style is very interesting for this game.
Yeah, that looks amazing. I can't wait for that game to come out.
2022 coming to Game Pass immediately. They had the atmosphere they laid out was pretty good. It has like this effect where you're basically pretty far away from the character and you're almost on like the ground kind of. The way they have it sort of laid out, so you're very aware of like kind of the scene leading up to the character, so the ground, and it has this weird effect of that moving independently from the character. So I just like the art style. I mean the story obviously we'll see all of that with how it plays, but visually it certainly caught a lot of people by surprise. So that's an interesting one there too. Outer Worlds 2, they just threw up the logo. Like that game's not coming for a long time.
That was a good trailer.
The trailer was hilarious though, because it's not wrong.
It was either going to be that, or it was going to be a Fable trailer, depending on how they were. How the announcer was speaking.
I was leaning Fable at first, and then they went into space.
People were talking about that in the chat. They're like, "Oh, this is Fable."
It looked like Fable off the bat, but then you started seeing little things like, "Okay, yeah, this is leading towards Outer Worlds."
Outer Worlds 2, Age of Empires 4, Age of Empires fans, October 28th. There you go. PC Game Pass Day 1. I think this is a game that on the Xbox will also use keyboard and mouse, I believe.
Thank God.
Was mentioned. Yeah, that would have been interesting with a controller like that. I mean, you could probably still use it, but like that would be, I don't know how well that'd work with Age of Empires. Flight Simulator, Xbox Series X, and that is happening July 27th.
I'll finally try it.
Land Anywhere.
And it's going to have Top Gun.
Where's MVG?
Oh, finally.
How many gigs is that game?
500.
Oh my God.
It's a pretty big game, yeah.
Holy crap.
It's half the size of Warzone, so you know it's big. Yeah. And then we had Forza Horizon 5, which is probably their big game of the show, to be honest, because the way it looked was super impressive. Like there were scenes they put up that they just kind of sat there and looked at the scenery. And you're like, oh, they're showing us what they pulled the data from to make this game. And they're like, oh, nope, this is the game.
Yeah, when they showed like the riverfront or the caldera, and they're like, we actually filmed this, and the cars just come driving by, and you say, wait a second, like I thought that was actually your film, and no, it just showed you the amount of detail that they've actually captured in this game in real time. It's jaw dropping. It's Forza Horizon 5 just looks fantastic.
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of the Horizon series. Love Horizon 4. Horizon 3 was good, but like Horizon 4 was really good. So I'm looking forward to Horizon 5. That's out in November. And I think that's going to be a good one to download off of Game Pass. So there we go.
So sorry, go ahead, Jordan.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, like, so I've never obviously played a Forza game. Like, I feel like when they were showing everything, it looked beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but like it looked boring. Like everything looked good, but like you're not able to get out of your car or anything, right? Like you're always in your car and you're just driving around.
You just drive around, yeah.
Is it generally just like a seamless kind of experience of like you're just driving around, you run into activities to do? Like
you find they're on the map.
And they're randomly generated too.
Yeah, they can be generated events.
Yeah,
so you might be next to a car that might be like, let's begin a race.
And they also talked about if there's a lot of drivers in an area, you'll see an event pop up based on how many drivers are in that area.
Okay.
It'll make up like car tag or hit to the subjective and stuff. And it definitely, it feels more natural. It does kind of remind me of like what I always thought Need for Speed would turn into, which is let's make the streets our racetrack.
Yep. And then they have events all over the place that you drive to, and you can go into actual races. You can you drive around, you find billboards and like fast travel points and there's stuff hidden everywhere, and
you can hit piñatas in Mexico. That was a fantastic idea, fantastic gameplay.
Yeah. I kind of found it.
Is that sarcasm, or are you genuinely?
No, that's legitimately.
Ran over piñatas for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I did see that. Yeah.
This is like the first time I feel like I've been excited for like a Forza game. Like I kind of found it like a little bit of the opposite of boring. Like it's like, oh, you see like the cars, like, oh, it's racing. I've seen it in every other racing game. But aside from how beautiful the graphics are and how they're able to accomplish that, when they started showing off like, I guess the party modes, create any type of game type you want, you can be in the middle of a race and hit some bowling pins and start doing kind of like the crazier fun stuff that like a lot of GTA Online does with their car, games that you can be a part of. I thought that was pretty cool, and I think that itself is going to spawn a pretty large community of people creating fun stuff and a big way to play that. That gets me the most excited. I like when the Horizon series gets a little zany, when they have DLC with the last game for Lego or the game before that with the Hot Wheels tracks. I think that's when it gets fun, as opposed to the Motorsport series, which is beautiful and realistic and great. But the Horizon series isn't afraid to make it look beautiful, but also just say, all right, it's a playground. Literally do whatever you want.
I like the Horizon series more.
So, it embraces that arcade route, but I love the expedition mode that they've added to this, where you're going to explore Mexico. You're going to see the temples. You're going to look for cultural and iconic landmarks. And as I said, we're going to have artists, and you're going to see some of their artwork displayed in the cities. And they've really captured that cultural essence of the region. And they're emphasizing in a strong way where you're going to be able to connect to it. And I love that they really took the time to respect the culture and everything that this region has to offer. And I think that's really nice to see a developer pay respect.
Respect the culture by hitting piñatas and driving around in a car. That is not. My daughter's half Mexican, by the way. That is not respecting the culture, dude. Like, I get what you're saying, but that is not respecting the culture. Like that's not. That needs to be taken out. Everything else is fine, but running around Mexico hitting piñatas like in a car, come on. Like, that's not respecting the culture.
How many hours would you guys say you've sunk into like individual games that you've played?
Horizon 4, probably 80 hours.
Just driving around and doing random things.
Driving around doing races, finding things in the map, and just because you also level up each car basically.
Yeah,
and
there's different cars to unlock and stuff like that.
There's a lot of cars. You end up with like hundreds of them. So it's actually pretty good. I mean, Horizon 4 is good. It's on Game Pass, so if you already have it, you just download it and try it out. But yeah, I think Horizon 4 was in the UK. It's in the UK, yeah. So you can kind of drive around and see different bits of scenery there too.
See all the rain and stuff. Yeah, that's nice.
See all the piñatas is cool.
Horizon's 4 big thing is they went through seasons. So it'll be winter, spring, summer,
that's true. I remember seeing
fall. It's pretty cool. Like it'll go
it's
between them.
PC? It's on PC, right? Yeah.
Yep. It's on PC and Xbox.
I'll try it.
Yep. It's a lot of fun. It's a good series to check out. So that's in November. So be checking that out immediately. So good stuff there. And that was Microsoft Show. What did everyone think of Microsoft Show overall?
I think it was my favorite of all of them by a small margin, just by bulk. I think Nintendo was more fun to me in sections because I am a Advance Wars fan and I do love Fatal Frame, so it's cool that they were there. But an hour and a half of just all games was really just overwhelmingly cool.
Okay. I think this is probably Microsoft's best show they've probably done since I can remember an E3. I mean, I guess we go all the way back to like when they were showing off things like Halo 2. It's like, well, yeah, that might be better. But like I'll say in the last 10 years, easily, because otherwise we got to go back to when they were saying TV over and over again.
There was also Redfall at the end. That was their stinger.
I was going to bring up Redfall as well, but the thing with Redfall that's weird.
All right. Saw a CGI trailer.
Thanks for reminding me actually about that, Jordan, because Redfall, that's coming from Arcane, and they showed off the CG trailer, right? And that's fine, but it's a new IP, and I kind of feel like I know what it is, but I'm not 100% sure as to how this game is going to play because they showed it as a CGI trailer, and that'd be fine if it was coming out like years from now, but it's out in 1 year.
Hold on, that's the one with the vampires and stuff, right?
Yes.
I was getting very like Back 4 Blood vibes, but vampires.
No, yeah. It looks like 4-player co-op, more actiony, magic elements, stuff like that.
Like, I love new IPs, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I was still getting the same vibes, like being down in that long alleyway, like street, with like storefronts that they were going into, running from enemy types, stuff like that. Like, I don't know.
But that's the thing. Like, if they had done like the CG trailer and then they cut to gameplay, then back to the CG trailer, then I'd be like, okay, I understand what's going on here because they at least give us a look at the HUD. Is it third person? Was it first person at the time? I was trying to figure out how the gameplay was going to be just based on and I mean, we just had the Outer Worlds trailer earlier in that same presentation that was like, we're gonna show this cool stuff and none of this is probably going to be in the game. And I'm kind of thinking about that with Redfall. I'm like, they showed us all this cool stuff, but like, is it actually going to play out that way when we're going through the game? And that's just the way they presented it with the CG trailer, which again, we're a year out. So
I think some trailers do a good job of like showing the abilities that you will use in the game, like in a cinematic kind of version, in the CG. And I think if they do that right and the gameplay translates to it, I think the reception will be like pretty well. But I think when, again, like you were saying, they show unrealistic things that you don't even happen, like it's not possible for you to do in the game. I don't know. Like, I feel like, I think the open world fact, I think if they'd shown more of that, I think it'd be really, really cool. Because that's what they were saying, right? It's open world.
Did they?
Yeah, didn't they say it was going to be an open world game?
I don't remember that. I just saw them talking about the fact that it's like science accidentally created vampires and they got all this magic, and I saw that little bit of an interview. So it seems fun, but yeah, I agree the fact that it's a weird taste test, because let's face it, if this is Left 4 Dead style, there's not going to be all this dialogue and narrative and stuff. It's going to be maps in an order, but we'll see what it turns into.
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing there is there's still a lot of questions around it when they were trying to show off new IP. It's cool that Arcane's doing something like that. That's cool. So
I definitely don't think it was stinger worthy for the end. Like, that could have been a cool announcement, especially if they're not showing any gameplay. That would have just been a cool, like, middle of the show announcement. Here's what Arcane's doing, and then maybe I don't know. I don't think there's any real thing they could have ended on that we didn't know about.
Elder Scrolls 6 again.
Right,
again, here's the logo twice.
I feel like they could have ended it out better is if they had something ready for Halo's campaign, because they could have ended it showing the Halo multiplayer and then cut to a cinematic to explain what's happening in Halo Infinite, and then end with the release date. But like, they didn't have the release date. They had a pretty small cinematic. I think that would have been way better to end that way. Take Halo Infinite where it wasn't a show, flip it with Redfall, and then end with a cinematic for Halo Infinite, ending with like Chief saying something cool, and like then it just cuts to the release date or something, and they end it that way. Because they're in the build, people have been like, "Wait, where's Halo Infinite? They haven't shown it at all," and then it ends the whole show. So
yeah,
I think that would have made it like a really, really good show then. But overall, I was happy with Microsoft showing. I think they did pretty good.
It's the show they needed. I think it's the show that they needed at this point in time. What they showed was a good roadmap of landmarks that are coming up in their Game Pass plan. They have shown us games that are coming out in 2021 with like Forza Horizon 5 and Halo. They've showed us the promise of what can come in 2022 with games like Redfall. And even in some previous, events, they've showed us games like Avowed, Hellblade 2, Perfect Dark, Fable. Sure, those might be 2023, but what they're showing us is that their roadmap moving forward for future releases is going to be diverse and it's going to be fairly abundant. And I think this show just highlighted that further. They still have a lot to work on in the immediate, but overall, yes. I think it was a quality show that if you have an Xbox or you're looking into Game Pass right now, you can look to the future and say, there's a lot of appeal in this service or this platform, and I'm looking forward to what Microsoft has to bring over the next 12, 24, or even 36 months.
People seem to be pretty high on the show, and there's a lot of talk about buying Xbox and stuff online, so we'll see how that ends up in like the sales and all of this. But if Microsoft just gets those Game Pass subscriptions, that's all I really care about.
That was the point of this show, is really showing the power of Game Pass, the value behind Game Pass. It wasn't necessarily like, look at all these cool upcoming games. It was like, yeah, but the majority of them you could get on this service.
Yeah.
And I think that was really hit home well where Xbox has been planning, why there hasn't been a lot over the last few years, and how their future is going to be pretty strong, it's looking like. So I'm very happy with what they showed off.
Yeah, it was definitely a Game Pass moment of, here's all the games we have coming, including games like Starfield, Game Pass day one. Here's some of the partnerships we're making with third parties and indie studios. Hades, Game Pass day one. The Suikoden successor, Game Pass day one. And that's the type of promise that they are really pitching here. And Microsoft did an excellent job at that. The only area that maybe they fell short a little bit in is that we didn't see a 2021 major third-party release become a Game Pass day one. We didn't see like the Battlefield 6 moment, a Call of Duty type moment. And that is going to happen. We're going to see those level games come to Game Pass day one more frequently. I think if they had something of that tier at this presentation, they probably would have had a knockout punch where you really would look at Sony's upcoming holiday lineup, which we know nothing about, and say, Microsoft is in a much better position comparatively to Sony, but they just didn't have that moment. And as we mentioned earlier, we still have that uncertainty of when exactly is Halo Infinite hitting. Mm-hmm. Right now, all we know from Microsoft for their holiday lineup is Forza Horizon 5. That alone won't catapult them. They need that Halo. They need some of those Game Pass titles. They need something slightly bigger. But overall, if you're invested in the Xbox and the Microsoft ecosystem, whether it's Game Pass on your PC or however you play it, I think you're feeling pretty good about what they have on deck moving forward.
Yeah,
I thought it was important, like, that they did show Starfield. Obviously, it's nothing grand. I think the big reason that they showed off anything regarding Starfield, aside from people wanting the game, just wanting to know more about it, the main thing they wanted to know is this going to be a reason to see Bethesda games on Game Pass? Is this going to be that moment? And I think that's what they used to sell it, saying, yes, big Bethesda games are indeed an Xbox exclusive.
And they silenced all the cross-gen or the cross-platform talk with Starfield in one foul swoop. They just came out and said, next November, Starfield exclusive to the Xbox, Game Pass day one. And it's kind of saying, okay, we now understand the future of Bethesda on this platform. Let's go.
If that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have seen it until next E3, months before its release.
They would have kept it under wraps because they would have wanted to limit that marketing cycle of this is coming to a PlayStation console as well. We want to keep you in the dark as long as we can with that feature coming out 18 months in advance. We're proud. We're pounding it on our chest, saying this is ours. You want these games moving forward? You're coming to us, whether it's on PC, on our hardware with the Xbox. Game Pass, however you get it, this is it moving forward. Here's our statement. Sony, it's your move now.
Yeah, I think the only thing with Microsoft's presentation is there isn't anything like super impactful. Nothing that got people hyped on a stream or something crazy happening. It was pretty straightforward. Everyone just kind of hung out, watched it, and like, all right, that's pretty good. Okay, that's cool. Kind of just going through it. Whereas if you looked at like what Nintendo did, they had some of those moments in their presentation, which we're going to get to here in a second. Otherwise, though, it was a good way for them to kind of fill out and work to sell Game Pass further. So